Hi, Adam Bierman. We have a great guest here. Bryan DeSanto brought Michael Dowd, who was on the Howard Stern show. But first, who is Michael Dowd? I wrote this down. Michael Dowd is an ex-New York police officer from 1981 to about 1992. He went rogue, though, and worked for a local drug lord by the name of Adam Diaz. We'll be discussing him, and was eventually arrested for running drugs out of Suffolk County, Long Island, where he's from. He currently is a subject, airing on Showtime, the 7-5, the 75th Precinct, and movies should be coming up, which we'll be discussing. I think Sony, but I want to discuss that more. But Michael Dowd, thank you for coming on this show.
Thanks for having me.
There's also the Dowd Report.
Well, the Dowd Report. I heard of it, but never read it myself.
It's different Dowd.
A lot.
No, it's the same Dowd.
I talked.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear, though? I talked to a pretty famous in psychiatric fields, a Princeton University professor, about you, and I told him about you, and he looked you up, and he gave a causal analysis about you. Okay. You want to hear what he had to
Why
say?
not? Uh-huh.
And again, if I don't speak English, just tell me.
Actually, I don't want to hear it.
Okay, Michael, the patient has a fluid emotional IQ, is abrasive but self-deprecating, with nuanced situational compass. That means you can read people well and play up to them.
I like this guy.
He shows vulnerability, which allows him to connect with others. Could it be manipulative consciously or self-consciously? We don't know. He shows traces of narcissism, insecurity. He jokes about himself, that's insecurity down deep. But at the same time, he's a charismatic storyteller, so his look at me does not get annoying because he's good at what he does when he tells stories.
At first I thought this was about you, but then this last thing, it's not annoying because you're annoying.
People like this can be impulsive, not moderate themselves, cunning and manipulative, and self-justifying, making them at times dangerous.
Wow.
That's
well, I mean, he's just covered the whole world there. However, I see many of my characteristics in that analogy.
And again, he just looked at it. I just told him about you, I thought.
No, listen, I can't put a hole in what he said because many of those characteristics I exude, and at the same time, the word manipulation is always a negative word, but the reality is, everybody in the world manipulates a relationship.
Yep. And he said that. It doesn't mean it's actually bad.
Okay,
it could be good. You're the type of person, you can make someone feel good about themselves and attack
and I usually do because I'm self-deprecating.
Right.
So I'd rather take the weight for anything that we may or may not want to accept. I'll take the weight for it, and at the same time I will try to build people up. I'm the middle child of 7, so I've learned to adapt in the world of
that makes sense.
How to make people both love you, and at the same time, they help pick you up in their love to you.
I prefer to tear people down.
You personally.
Well, for whatever reason, and we'll get to his life, we have time. You want to hear what the evolutionary biologist said about you?
Go ahead.
Of
course I do.
Okay, he said that you're their Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, for the rhetorical question. You're a hunter-gatherer, dick-slinging hunter-gatherer, who plays a zero-sum game.
Is this a comedian show? Is this a comedian show?
No.
Okay.
Who plays a zero-sum game.
He's dyslexic. He reads everything backwards.
I am too.
We all, three of us. Maybe that's what we hear.
I'm dyslexic.
That's not funny.
I'm the only human being here.
Who's not dyslexic?
Yeah, but I have dyscalculia, and I don't have reading. I have a problem with math, and when I write stuff, I
it's my reading. That
hurts.
I have dyscalculus. I can't see numbers.
Yeah.
My numbers are good. I'm good with numbers.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Clearly.
Yeah, he is.
Clearly, I was good with numbers.
You two together, I can't even believe you made it here. Anyway, and he said,
neither can I, by the way.
Okay.
It was quite the journey.
He said that you play a zero-sum game when you're in the Wild West, which you were in the 7-5. You have your own personal contract, which supersedes formal bureaucratic norms that can constrain others. Women, on a conscious or subconscious level, want to fuck you because you are an alpha male. And he says from an evolutionary, and you're somewhat tall, and you're strong, and you exude that take control. And that's still in a woman's DNA.
Yes,
he said. And that makes males either a combination that can admire you, be jealous of you, and feel threatened.
Right.
That's what he said.
That guy's more accurate than the first guy. That's
I say they're both pretty accurate.
I'm all of the above.
I've known you for a while now.
You have now analyzed me in that respect.
I have all those emotions about you.
Okay.
So then we have Michael Dowd. Good Catholic Long Island.
Should I go home now? I don't know.
Was this about you?
I'm all.
And stop me, and then we'll get in. Stop me when you have your stories.
Stop.
Good Catholic Long Island boy.
Right.
Unlike your partner Kenny Yule, you wanted to be a policeman, not a firefighter first.
Not necessarily. I wanted to have a job.
You want to have a job.
I want to get married.
So it was security.
Yeah,
It was security.
The security that not my father, who was a firefighter, and 5 of my brothers, and were firefighters and cops. So it was in the family. Uncles, aunts, everybody, like in the police departments, and fire departments in the city. You know, the old Irish, enclave.
Legacy, and you were continuing.
Correct.
And stuff.
I didn't really want to go into it. My mother was mad. I should have been an accountant. But the fact is, I chose the police department because it was the first job that was offered to me with security.
Right. So you can go on to continue, have kids, have a family.
Exactly. You're 21, 22 years old, you want to get married and have babies.
2 kids, and everything.
Right.
And you went there and you wanted to actually solve problems and stop crime.
I actually enjoyed being a police officer after the academy, but I didn't realize that I was going to be more of a problem, because the more you tried to solve crimes as a cop, the more you became part of the problem rather than the solution.
Because you were in the 75th precinct, which was the Wild West. It was like the South
Correct.
Bronx.
It was South Bronx was a baby to us.
It was the height of the crack
at that time.
Right.
Correct.
And so you walked into this. I mean, you walked in one of the worst times.
21
to be a
years
cop.
old, 22 years old, and the city was exploding.
Right. Right.
What year is this?
1983 I arrived, and 1985 it took off.
Right. And it got just shootings, crack epidemic, everything.
It was great.
And so
Great.
So
It was great. It was incredible.
Right.
The excitement was enthralling. You couldn't.
Oh, you got an adrenaline rush.
You didn't want to miss a day.
Adrenaline.
It was
Pure
crazy.
adrenaline.
It was just so exciting. Who got shot today? Who didn't get shot? You know, who paid? Who didn't pay? It was ongoing.
You like the game in a way.
It was crazy.
But then you felt stifled too. You said the bureaucracy couldn't even deal with prosecuting all these criminals. I mean,
No.
they didn't want to hear about it after a while.
Correct. They didn't want you to make arrests because it cost too much money to process. Now you became part of the problem. People called 911 asking for you to like arrest people for dealing drugs on a corner, and like you'd show up, and like if you bring a guy in, they'd be mad at you. Because now you took 2 cops off patrol, you took 1 crack dealer off the street,
Paperwork.
and there was 50 people behind him taking his place, and the whole cycle just continued, except it cost them money.
Gotcha.
So you were castigated or ostracized for making an arrest at that point, because you took 50 bags off the street, and there was like 5 million bags behind you, and it was a self-propagating cycle.
See, the effect is that essentially the laws were not being prosecuted anymore. That it was open season to be a drug dealer.
Correct. In fact, we were their protection, but unpaid for it, other than our salary.
Right.
So like they were like happy to see the police, because they knew that they really were not being pursued in an arresting manner, because there was no room for them.
So you're trying to keep the lid on the chaos.
You
That's
put
about
your
it.
finger on the dike hole, and that's the analogy that you would give. So, but the bottom line was that you felt cheapened as a police officer, because altruistically you wanted to arrest every person that was doing something wrong, and now you're asking to just keep them at bay.
And this is an odd kind of corruption, because usually we imagine that the drug dealers are paying off the police not
Well, that
to be
came
arrested.
later.
But
Well,
in this case, it's more like we don't want to bother because it's too much of a hassle.
It cost the city too much money. You were hurting the value of having a patrolman out there opposed to having a patrolman doing paperwork. And now you're in a situation where, like I try to reiterate, the people were upset with you because you didn't do what they were expecting of you, but at the same time, the department didn't want it to happen. So now you are faced with several things. Either look like a fool continually or tax them.
Right. So you're unlike.
We became businessmen at that point. Wow. Tax them, make a few dollars, and hurt them at the same time, but not destroy them. So it was like a balance.
It's the world. You want to say something so badly. You want to say?
I don't say anything.
You're moving so much.
No, I'm just listening.
He's an alpha male too.
Yeah, what pimp did
it's
you
hard
get
for
that?
him to sit.
What pimp did you get that red hat from?
So anyway,
It's probably better on him than I.
So anyway, I'll speed things up. From what I remember, then you shook down a drug dealer. You said you wanted a lobster dinner, so you said he gave you a couple hundred. He had more money than you probably
He
saw.
wasn't
in
a
one
drug
year.
dealer.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a knot in his like had the fanny packs back then,
Yeah.
and he had no license, no registration.
Explain what a mystery is.
He had no license, no registration, no insurance card, and no license plates on his vehicle.
No license plates?
He had nothing. He had nothing.
Wow.
And he,
A little suspicious.
Now that's living.
so he didn't care. So he's driving down the street over by Jamaica Avenue, and I could probably remember if it was like by Vermont and Jamaica, and he was driving southbound towards Jamaica Bay. I pulled him over and like, you got nothing, dude. He's like, yeah, well, I just got the car, you know. And it was a Puerto Rican kid from the neighborhood. And back then, unlike today, back then the Puerto Rican guys were like the immigrants, but they were Americans. So like, but like, they didn't need papers.
Right.
So like, they had no information. They never did. And the reality is, I'm telling the truth. So we called them Puerto Rican mysteries, which is the question you asked.
They're probably poor from the center of the island. They came up. They flew into
They
New
just
York.
came to New York and they were like living here.
Right.
They had no real foundation of information that would lead back to who you are.
Right.
So like Juan Gonzalez, you know, Carlos Rodriguez, you know, listen.
No, those are
This
good
sounds.
they're
This
good
sounds.
names. I love it.
This sounds racially motivated, but
No, it's not.
I love Boricuas.
Don't worry about it.
I love Boricuas.
No,
They're my favorite people.
You know, some of the
Which actually
Princeton
ruined
police,
my life.
some of the Princeton professors, you know,
They actually ruined my life. The girl.
some of the PC people might want to break down the door. No, I understand what you're saying. You're saying facts. It's true.
No, this is the way it was
Yeah,
back then. So here you have these guys like, what's your name? Okay, so you write them a ticket. You know, what's your date of birth? They had no papers.
You're
No,
third world-ish.
It didn't matter.
Yeah,
It didn't matter. So okay, I would give them my date of birth. You know, because they didn't know theirs. You know, I give them my date of birth and I write them a ticket. And after a while, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my time. This guy's never going to show up in court.
Yeah.
So he's got a couple grand in his pocket, and I said, listen, here's a deal. But I didn't give you some summonses that you're not going to pay anyway.
Right.
Why don't you buy me a dinner? Oh, lunch. At that
Nice,
time. It was
lobster
midday.
lunch.
And, you know, if I asked for a hamburger and French fries, you know, it's like $12. You know, but I like lobster, so I told him. So leave me a couple $100 for a lobster dinner, and he can go home free. I wouldn't vouch for his car. I wouldn't give him the $1,500 in summonses, and
No
life
one
is
really
good.
gets hurt.
Yeah, everybody's happy. So it's like my first entrepreneurial move while a police officer.
Were you nervous afterwards when you drove away?
Scared to death.
You're looking behind.
Scared to death. I was like, oh my God, if we get pulled over now by the Internal Affairs.
This is after the Knapp Commission, before the Mullen Commission.
Correct. The Mullen
Right.
Commission is the commission that came after me.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Well,
Right,
I was part of it.
But things were hot.
Had you observed other officers doing the same
You
kind
know,
of thing?
funny stories, and I never really speak about this often. I did speak about it twice, and probably in like the 45 interviews I've done. I had two cops pull me over one time in a patrol car because I pulled a guy over in their sector. And they had guns drawn and everything.
On you, really?
Yeah,
'Cause you put
me and my
this-
partner. And what the fuck's going on here? You're pulling someone over in our sector? I'm like, yeah. Well, we followed him from Sector George, and then we pulled him over for a red light or whatever it was. Well, don't you be pulling people over in our sector? This is our sector. We run this sector. This is our gig.
Or cash cow, maybe. Yeah.
So I could put like the light bulb went off in my head. Why would you be upset with me, a young patrolman, for pulling over somebody in your sector to give him a summons?
Yeah.
Why indeed?
So, I mean, I did the math real quickly, and they were trying to control everything that happened in their sector. And so I said, okay. And then shortly thereafter, I ran into this kid with the Puerto Rican mystery, and I said, you know what? This is a chance for me to see if it's an opportunity for me to make some cash. Don't forget, back then, I think I was making $18,000 a year. You know,
I think $650 was a salary for me.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks was.
You felt a little unloved after a while.
Yeah, of course. You get jaded.
Yeah.
You know, you make an arrest, no one cares. They're mad at you. So you start to rationalize and justify. And now,
Put an untenable situation. I could actually see it happening, though. What the hell?
I mean, if you're in a car with me and you get no love and you're giving your blood every day,
Right.
eventually you get jaded. Eventually,
Right.
You shouldn't, but you do.
It's a choice you make. Yeah, you can see what. Maybe it's not right, but you can see it
I got no
happening.
money for gas to get home today, and this
yeah.
guy's got like a car not registered and like
Right.
15 grand in his pocket. You know,
I guess it's a matter of degree, and this is kind of small time vice. Why not go for it?
made the move,
Right.
and it turned out okay at the time.
But that was your first taste.
Yeah.
How did things get worse?
It got worse because I ended up losing that partner. He went to highway patrol.
Oh, and then Kenny. No. But no one wanted to be with you. I thought.
No.
Chicky,
No. There's
Chicky.
another guy who ended up going to Key West to be a cop because he ran as far as he could to South America. We ended up like running into this crack stuff, which no one knew about, and then we realized that this crack was worth money. Although I didn't know. He brought it home one day and he came back and gave me $400 one day. I said, "What's this for?" He says, "The stuff we took home yesterday. It was a lot of money." I said, "Oh my God, really?" So we were throwing it out.
Oh, you didn't even vouch for it.
No, just throw it out, get out
Little
of here.
rocks, yeah.
just
Big
throw
bars
it
of
out.
soap.
Yeah,
Just
little
little
tiny
slivers of
rocks of soap. And it turned out that
Not that I know.
it turned out.
He's been in some corners and
Yeah.
no, we're going to that.
God bless him. It turned out that it's worth a lot of money, and we've been throwing it out, and now he's like, he wants to make some money out of this guy that I'm working with. He's got a little more time in the precinct than I, but not more time on the job, and so you're compelled to follow the lead of your partner, you know.
Because you depend on each other.
Of course. So now we're like, every time we get a drug call, like now we're looking to just take everything they got rather than just arrest them, because they don't want you to arrest them. So now we just take what they got and let them go. So like at some point it became, they used to call us Batman and Robin. I didn't know this until I got transferred to Coney Island 6 months later, and a guy says to me, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?"
You were like super cops in a way. You were like,
I guess.
well, you were hard ass. You just came in hard, came in fast.
You know what it is? You learn how to adapt
Right,
to where
right.
you're at, survive. So I'm walking the beat in Coney Island. The guy comes up to me and goes, "You don't belong here." Like, who the fuck are you to tell me I don't belong here? He goes, I said, "Oh, you see the numbers on my belt?" Because the cop puts the numbers on his collar and his old numbers on his belt of the
Oh, I
precinct
didn't
he
know that.
belonged to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you see the numbers on my belt, the 7-5? He goes, "No." He said, "You tossed me one time up in Essex, on Essex Street between Atlantic and Fulton." I said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "A Burgundy 280Z?"
You remembered.
I go, "Burgundy 280Z?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "There was 5 kilos in the trunk of my car you missed." This guy's telling me this. I go, "Fuck." I knew I had something. And back then it was $28,000 a key.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm like,
And your superiors, they really didn't want another scandal. They didn't want to know about a lot of this stuff anyway. Right?
well,
77.
I never asked him, but I assumed.
Was there the same attitude of corruption in Coney Island as in your other precinct?
Well, it was a different approach. Coney Island was like a low key. It's more like guys were drinking and partying on duty because it was the beach, you know. But East New York was like hardcore crack and cocaine dealing.
And people were getting
heroin.
shot. And
Oh,
people-
dead. They were dying there.
You could die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all day long. Give it 22 minutes, we'll give you a homicide. But that was the saying back then. But so anyway, so here we are in Coney Island, and this guy's like saying, "You don't belong here," and I'm trying to confront him on, "What do you mean?" So he tells me about, "You had me for 5 kilos. Now here's a guy telling me, "You had me for 5 kilos. Technically, he should be arrested right then, right? I mean,
Right.
he admits to having possession of drugs. I'm like, okay. At that moment, the partner that I was with, Jerry, says, "I'm out of here." I go, "What do you mean you're out of here?" He goes, "I quit."
Oh, he didn't want to report anything.
Yeah. He says, "I quit."
A little too rich for his blood.
Yeah. He's like, 7-7 just went down, 13 cops were arrested. He's like, "I'm out of here."
It's
I go,
too hot.
I go, "What do you mean you're out of here?" He goes, "This guy just pointed us out as Batman and Robin. He's offering to make deals with us to go back to the 7-5 and work with him." And he says, and his neighbor, my buddy's neighbor, was in internal affairs in the precinct called ICO. And the ICO had told him, "You guys are hot."
Oh, they knew. So they
Yeah,
did
we
know.
were hot.
Right.
So he goes back to the precinct.
You were the hot cop.
Right. He goes back to the precinct. Yeah, not that hot. Not sexy hot, but hot.
But you were good at what you did. They
Well,
knew
we
it.
thought, but
Yeah.
we weren't that hot. Obviously, you know, people knew, you know,
Right.
because people talk.
Well, too, after the 7-7 went down, no one else wanted a scandal. They didn't want all that
Right.
bullshit.
So, but
That's
that,
what I got,
But
though.
that's
They didn't want that,
that's
yeah.
the outflow of what I'm about to lead to. So
Right.
Jerry leaves the department, goes to Key West to become a cop. I'm standing there by myself. I go back to the 7-5 after the Coney Island detail ends, and no one wants to work with me. And I get put in with all these strays. We call them strays. Females, guys that no one wants to work with, zeros.
Personality
Yeah,
disorders.
the guys that no one wants to deal with.
It's hard to be Batman and Robin in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, except, you know, I'm always the lead, but like in this case, like, I don't want to work with these people. So, eventually I end up with Kenny, and Kenny and I hit it off as like personalities, but he was a little reticent in the beginning, and I said, "Listen, dude, I get stuck with these women, these guys I don't want to work with. Internal Affairs is working with me all the time, I know it." He's like, "Yeah, me too." I said, "So why don't we just hook up and work together and make a pact?" And so we did, and then henceforth the 7-5 movie basically
Right,
began.
and he went full force too, and he was part of the whole.
Yeah, once I said to him, "This is what it's about," and he says, "I'm in," it was on.
Yeah. Then you had Adam Diaz, and
Yeah.
I remember. And how'd you pick the 20? So Adam Diaz is a drug lord, and I remember to meet him, you wanted $24,000 down. Why $24,000?
Well, you know, I did the numbers in my head. I said, "Look, two guys, and it's about a 5-6 month clear of salary. So if we get jammed up, we have 5-6 months of pay.
Oh, that makes sense.
To
just for a meeting. Nothing was.
We didn't know how the meeting was going to go.
Yeah,
So
what was the purpose of this meeting?
to determine if we could work together.
Business relationship.
With a drug dealer.
Correct.
Okay.
Adam Diaz.
Yeah, kingpin.
Okay.
Adam Diaz.
Rather than a
Is this
street
your
guy.
first day? Is this your first day? You just arrived?
I just want the thing explained.
No, I get it.
There's
Yeah.
an audience out there that doesn't know the background information.
No,
And you guys say, and then Vinny said,
Hit him
no,
with
who's
something
Vinny?
else.
No, the reason you're correct.
Yeah,
Good
hit him with
question.
more notes.
No, the correct response.
Did you not get the notes?
The reason is this. See, Diaz and I and Kenny, we began this relationship because I didn't want to deal with street level thugs anymore because it was it was too much exposure. So I thought of a better way.
And Diaz was more of a businessman. He could be more stable.
Well, he sold 500 kilos a week.
Oh, yes,
So it was a little bit more than a
Escobar up the chain
type
with him.
guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and I didn't know that, by the way. If I knew he dealt 500 kilos a week, I'd have him for a lot more than $8,000 a week.
Right.
Like 20 grand a week, whatever, maybe 30 grand. I had to come up with a
A lot
number.
of money, man. Oh, God. Yeah, okay.
In
That he had.
1980 something,
Yeah.
these guys were making $8,000 a week.
He didn't dress any better.
Split it, yeah,
My
but
opinion,
in
but anyway, yes.
1980
Oh,
something.
him or me?
No, Diaz. Sorry, Adam. Whatever.
We
Anyway.
had a nice Porsche.
Yeah, he
Porch.
did. I did see
Porch.
that.
Porsche.
I'm putting a hole in my porch.
And he went to jail. Anyway.
Hell,
Hell.
Yale.
Yeah, don't go to Yale.
Yeah. Anyway, because I'm sorry, we're digressing. Because you didn't do research, I did. Anyway, go. So you meet this serious drug pin.
Right.
You know, who has some, but the guy has
It was
common
the
sense.
second meeting, though.
He has street cred. He's a businessman. He has some common sense. He's
Right.
not a cocaine cowboy,
Right.
crazy cowboy.
Right, like Mickey Monday, those guys.
Yeah, right.
No, he, who I met, I did time with Mickey Monday.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, no, but the first dealing was Cello. Cello tried to short me money.
Oh, right.
So he put a hit on me, and the whole thing digressed, and then I confronted him, and then, he...
You said, let's go right here,
Of
right
course.
now.
What was I
Mike
gonna do?
did a Wild
What was I
West.
going to do?
Yeah, but you meant it.
Of course I did.
And he saw it too. I think he backed down.
No, he backed down, he made a phone call, and I got my $700
Right, and the hit was called off.
called off. Right.
And then you start working with Adam. And Adam's
Right.
cool. Adam's delivers.
cool. It was a different approach. It was a business approach. This guy he wanted to be Wild West, this guy, and I showed him what Wild West was.
Right.
But Adam wanted to have a business approach to the whole thing, which worked out for the most part at the time.
That's what I got. It's like, I'm with you and I'm going to work with you and be fair. But if you fuck me once, then we're going another direction.
Exactly.
You escalate things quickly.
Yeah, because you have to, because you have to be in control of the whole dynamics.
Us are seen as weak. Right,
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah.
So Adam's cool. Adam's the businessman. The money starts coming in.
Money's coming in. I'm giving him a little bit of information that I gather. I was a patrolman. I didn't have any inside information. I would search the area for patrols. Undercover patrols, just to see. So I didn't want him to get pinched while I was working.
Right.
It was like, this is what he's paying me for, to keep him from getting
You want
pinched.
some bread and milk? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, you had a Calvinist approach. You did your job quite well.
Well, thank you.
You did. No, you pinched other people, but
Yes, I did.
In the 7-5, like when the feds, you saw the feds, you saw these these guys with beard. The fed. You made sure.
I confronted them. What do you guys do? We got a job going around the corner. They didn't tell me. There's 7 spots around the corner. I just assumed, tell my guy to close.
Right.
I have no idea they're going to his spot.
But they did.
But they did.
They did. Adam,
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, it was incredible. He was like that was the one time I was right.
The one thing I don't get, or maybe I do. So now you're making a lot of money. You
Right.
buy 4 properties.
Yeah,
Money's
4 or
coming
5,
in.
right, yeah.
Your partner's making money too. You're doing the
Yeah,
vacations
right.
and everything.
Right.
Had you started your getting high on the supply yet?
Pretty much right around then. Yeah.
But you still functioned. That's why you're the alpha male. You kept going.
Yeah, well, I was professional.
But you're doing Vicodin, cocaine. You're
No, I
drinking.
didn't Vicodin.
Oh, no Vicodin?
No,
Oh, that time?
Don't look at me. I got nothing
No,
to say.
I don't do Vicodins.
Maybe you're Vicodin now.
I don't
I'm
know
just joking. I'm sorry. No, but you must have been going on pure. You are like the animal of the jungle. You kept on going. You did your job. You woke up. You ran a family.
Right.
You ran your little empire of homes.
Right.
You were still a cop. I did a little poking around. You still were a good cop in the sense you made pinches. You
Yeah,
know.
I did, yeah.
And everyone said that you were which is what I heard.
Right.
That you actually had that sixth sense that a cop should get about what's going on the street. You said at the beginning of that documentary you learned the street and the cops
Right.
teach you. Then you got really good at it.
Right.
and stuff. And cops,
I learned to survive in the street, and I learned how to use the street to my advantage.
you kept other. This is what I got from talking to Princeton cops about you. You kept other cops alive because you know
Absolutely.
what's going on.
That was good. Thank you.
And stuff.
And that's
and
true.
stuff.
That's why I
And that's
brought you
true.
here.
So actually, they do want you. You look like that guy in Platoon. You know, Barnes, played by whoever the actor was in Platoon. You know, he might be an asshole, but he got us this far.
Right.
You know,
Listen,
yeah.
all the accolades I accept and I appreciate, but I still.
I'm just saying what the cops told me.
No. Listen, I appreciate what they said because that is an accurate assumption of who I was because I always had their back. The problem was I was just trying to capitalize on the situation.
Yeah, you were multitasking.
Yeah.
Big time, big
Yeah.
time. So anyway, you got really upset when a cop got killed, a transit officer.
Right.
Vulnerable got killed.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you felt really guilty. Why? During this time, you're dealing with Adam Diaz.
Well, because
right?
it's multifaceted. First of all, if you watch the film, you see that everybody was touched by it. Everybody in the film was touched by it. Even Diaz,
Yeah.
was touched by it. But
and that big guy, not Chicky, the other
Walter-
guy.
Walter-
Walter's almost started
Walter-
crying.
Walter-
Walt, he was at the scene. He
Yeah.
was there. I took the cop to the hospital. I dropped him off there. I brought him into the emergency room, and a lot of things happened in transition. I went back to the scene, and I was just lost my mind because I didn't feel as though I was responsible, but I felt connected to it, and because people get shot all day long, and I had to minimize that, and I didn't have any direct connection to this, but I knew that the street shot this guy.
Right, and you.
And I didn't know who these people were specifically that shot him, but I knew that my connections would know.
This is a transit officer who got shot. Yeah.
And I knew that if I put some pressure on my connections in the street, that I might be able to see who really was involved in it. And the reality was that they basically had the guy pinned down within 24 hours, whoever did it. But I felt guilty. I just felt like this is not what I signed up for.
Right.
I have a good soul and I have a good upbringing. I got lost along the way, and then when I saw this happen, I was like,
It was a shock.
What am I doing?
Right,
you know, even though I don't feel like I did this, I'm not specifically responsible. I felt as though I was part of it.
You tried to go,
The attitude of corruption.
Corruption.
you tried
yeah.
to go straight, right?
And then, well, prior
Whatever
to
straight
this,
is.
prior to this
Oh.
whole thing, I did. Way prior, because when I came back from Coney Island, I was scared I was going to lose my job, and I tried to go straight, and no one would work with me. That's why I ended up with Kenny. And then something else happened, and I went away to the farm. I came back from the farm, and
The
no
farm. It was like a therapy thing.
Like a
Did
rehab.
You go fishing and do
quitter,
rehab?
like a rehab. I
Right.
went to a rehab, and when
This
I
is for drugs, or
no, you can't go for drugs.
no? I mean, it's like a
Alcohol.
police rehab. Oh,
Correct.
Okay.
The farm, yeah.
But didn't the shrink know? Didn't a preceptor shrink? Didn't any preceptor shrink pick up that maybe
One.
a little bit
One.
shaky?
Yes, but they couldn't get rid of you. Like contractually, they had to
Oh, I
either
see.
pension you out or fire you, and they had no grounds to fire me. So I actually tried to get pensioned, and they wouldn't do it. So they gave me my guns back.
Even though they knew you might be hot and might cause
Right.
further
They
embarrassment to
gave me
them
my
in the
shit
future.
back, and I'm like, I can't believe this just
Really?
happened.
What year is this now?
Like 1980, like 1990.
Okay, so you've been in the force 7 years.
9 years at this, eight years at this time.
I hate time constraints. We have about, I think, 14 minutes. We gotta go. I want to get into the movie.
Keep
There's so
going.
much to get into. So anyway, so
Talk
you
to
come
Mike. If
back.
you don't get to me, I don't care. Talk to
Okay.
Mike.
No. But still, no. We got to get in your movie and everything. No, Brian. Anyway, I demand that we do this. That's it.
What can I say at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
Blah blah.
I love
blah.
it. You kissed me on the lips, and that kind of got to me
That was a
too.
little heavy.
It was heavy. Anyway,
Yeah, he's going to have a happy ending for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, an informant. I did remember an informant said that told somebody, some fed that Mike with a red car. And that's when the shit
That was
started-
fluff. That was fluff.
Oh, that's not true.
No, that's what they said. But there was no. There's no direct connection to that. It was it's like this. I know you're doing bad, and you're driving a red Corvette.
Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
there was no basis for.
That was dramatic license.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Arch way to the next scene.
Exactly. He knew something was going down,
Right.
and he was trying to bang my girlfriend. This guy, he was a lieutenant. So
Oh, but you were still married at the time too,
You
right?
used to take his parking spot.
half the time.
So you are an alpha. You are an alpha. You are an
Half
alpha
the time.
now.
I don't remember.
So you're jealous of this guy who wanted to cheat with the woman you were cheating with.
I'm not jealous.
You an alpha.
I have to
Don't
say,
ever get that twisted.
You're an alpha
He's a
male.
far-
Look
I'm
at
not
this.
jealous of
Jealous.
anybody.
You have a
He
gun.
was trying to bang my girlfriend, and he called internal affairs and said I was selling cocaine out of a red Corvette. First of all, I never did that. Second of all, he was trying to bring attention to me to get me in trouble.
This guy, so you have a penis you use, you have a gun, you're making a lot of money, you're actually a good cop, but you're a bad cop, you're managing a family, and you're banging another chick. No wonder people.
At least.
There's a lot of jealousy. I can see
Yeah,
that.
guys are calling up on me, they're mad at me, they call my wife in the middle of the night, where's your husband tonight? I show up, my clothes are on the lawn.
Wow.
Yeah, I hate those
I
numbers.
showed up, my clothes are on the lawn. What's going on here? Well, you were supposed to be here, but you weren't there.
Sidebar, because was your wife happy with the money? She still stayed with you at this point, right?
Well, you know what? She wasn't. She asked me to stop.
Oh, she did?
Dozens of times.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
She did.
I mean, in the beginning it was okay, and then after a while she's like, stop. We're done.
Did you become sober at some point?
Yes.
In jail.
12 years.
No, because that would have affected how you were around the house.
No, I did. I did. And then that we got along well.
Okay.
The problem is you have to maintain that, or you slide back. And being an alcoholic, you slip and slide. So.
Oh, you were officially an alcoholic?
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, you start doing the Suffolk County. You start moving your own cocaine in your old neighbor where you grew up in Suffolk County, Long Island.
Right.
And according to the 7-5, I didn't see him. The guy you entrusted to sell it didn't seem like the brightest bulb.
I didn't trust him. Kenny did. I had nothing to do with it.
Kenny, you were the partner.
He was a molo.
Okay, so it's hard to control other people.
Yeah, I mean, and he's calling me up, help me out. Can you hook me up with this and hook me up with that? And I actually, the downfall was I went to meet this guy Harry with an undercover cop there.
Oh,
Done.
Okay.
Case closed. Once I met them, it was over. Then I got my phones, and I knew it was hot, and I tried to get away from the business, but never really get away totally. So they were on me, and I set up a couple deals where I made a couple, $40,000, $50,000,
Wow.
and it was going to be an ongoing thing. So, but they were in already. Now they had my phones, and it was over.
Tom was on their side.
They had me.
So you got busted. You said you're almost relieved, though. It was over.
Oh, yeah, it was like, because, the stress that you live under when you live that kind of life is like overwhelming. You don't realize it until you get arrested. You're like,
yeah, because there's so many things going on, and you can't control everything. And
You said
yeah.
a husband, a boyfriend, a father, a cop, a businessman,
Illegal this.
Yeah.
Can't control everyone. You don't know
Yeah.
what he said, what they said.
Are they
It's a
home?
quack.
Are they arrested?
It's revolving mirrors. That's what I see it as.
It's a lot of work, a lot of effort.
So we'll speed things up. Then you finally you get sentenced. You do a federal jail.
Right.
And Kenny, of course, the Colombian. Before that, Kenny's wearing a wire. Your old
Correct.
partner, because he didn't. You have sympathy for him though. But you said I think with Joe Rogan, he did have a wife who was involved.
Right.
Who could have been, and he had kids, and
Correct.
that's why. And I guess he didn't want to jeopardize his family. But he ratted, and you never ratted. And is that good or bad? I don't know.
Well, you know what? I don't judge him anymore for that. What I judge is what he tried to do when we were out on bail. He tried to set me up to do something that's not my character.
He went out of its way. Okay.
Yeah. In other words, that whole ending of the movie.
Entrapment. It was entrapment.
Yeah. It was. That's not my character. I would never do anything like that. Anybody in the world.
They made it seem like you were going to have her executed on the street for the Colombians.
Not happening. The fact that the ending was all sort of contorted, factually based, but
Contorted,
intentionally contorted.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen.
Of course, you didn't watch it. You didn't prepare. Anyway, he goes to jail for 12 years. To
14 sentenced
God.
to 14 years.
So you lost everything.
Well, I made it. You know what it is? I made the best deal that I could at the time, and they offered me 24 to 30, and I told them trial. They offered me 17 to 24. I told them trial, and then they came back and said, "What about 11 to 17?" I said no, and they said, "How about 12 to 15?" So I'm like, what the fuck happened to the 11? So I said, okay, let's make a deal here. And
you're kind of like driving each other.
they kept going this way and this way.
Yeah.
When the feds get you, you're done really.
You're playing
You're
chicken.
done. I had 13 cooperating witnesses against me. I made phone calls. I had 5 more people. I had 5 more people join in because I wanted them to reduce their own sentences.
He actually called people from jail and said,
Cooperate
Done.
against me because
Right,
I didn't want
wow.
to see them.
well, they can't do nothing more than that.
Right. I mean, it is what it is. The guidelines are what they are. Make yourself a deal. So that's how we left it.
When you went to jail, though, again, I know
Prison.
prison. You're a cop, even in federal prison.
It's a lot of fun.
I thought you were
It's
like
hard.
number 1 on the list with pedophiles.
Yeah, it was hard. It was tough. But you know what? I'm a survivor, and I made the best of it. I did general population after 9 months. I threatened to hang myself after 9 months of isolation, and they put me out in general
Yeah,
population.
that's quite unusual for anyone.
Yeah.
You go insane. No stimulation.
So I got in general population, and I survived.
And they didn't they didn't shank you?
No one wants a problem. Mostly,
Okay,
if you're a stand-up guy and they respect you and you don't meddle in anybody else's business,
They just want to do their time.
They
and
want to
get
do their
out,
time too.
and get out.
But if you get in their business, then you may have a
But no
problem.
young buck might not come up.
Sometimes they do. I have to check people, but I was no slouch. If you see pictures of me back in the day, I was almost as pretty as you. I was jacked and ripped.
everything.
I tell you, he was in great shape. Him and Kenny were in good shape.
I was in great shape.
And
I could do 160 pull-ups.
Yeah.
Wow, you're like Herschel Walker. What else?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a Herschel Walker guy, but I was in good shape.
Now we gotta
it
move
wasn't
on.
going to be a one-way street. It was going to be two-way.
Gotcha.
So.
Now we move on. You're out. You've been screwed over. I feel bad about the job stuff and stuff. What is this movie? I'm confused. We have Bryan DeSanto, the amazing Bryan DeSanto, the favorite guest appearance of Bierman. You two met, and let me do a line from Apocalypse Now. Looking at you two, I know things are going to get hot. I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but something's going to happen. So anyway,
he's hard to contain. This guy's fucking hard to contain.
Yeah, but look at you, man. I don't know. You two together, is it combustible? It's combustible.
It's very combustible. He was out somewhere last night. I said, "I'll come meet you." He said, "No, stay home. Stay away from me."
There's a lot of, there's a lot of testosterone. I can't even say it, between you two. A lot of dysfunction.
Is there any
a
word?
lot of psychic pain.
Number one, besides the testosterone, all the bullshit, you have to have a mutual respect for each other. And I got a lot of respect for Mike.
That's right. You're right.
I got a lot of respect for Mike.
I think he's a talented.
I came up on the
very
street.
Talented.
I was a street guy. I did a lot of things wrong. I did.
You can relate. Yeah.
I absolutely relate to Mike. I knew people like Mike my whole life. And everybody makes mistakes in their life, and nobody deserves to pay for it forever.
No, it's double.
And
you're
I
getting
got-
triple jeopardy, in my opinion.
I got
Thank you.
enamored with Mike's story. Justin Lancaster from One Night at Dante's came to me and said, "Bryan, we got to work together again, blah, 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 blah." And just nothing was coming out. It was all shit. And I saw Mike on Howard Stern like a year ago. And every time I turned around, Mike Dowd was popping up somewhere in my feed. And eventually I said to Justin, "I got this story about this guy. Yeah, what do you think of this story?" And he said, "It's interesting. Can you write it?" And 15 pages came out of me. Now we're up to some other pages. It's steeped in his character. It's not him because he's owned by someone else. But Mike is co-writing this story with me, and it's been amazing so far. I pitched Mike, when we didn't know each other, I pitched in the beginning of the movie, and in Mike's words, he said, "I just blew everyone out of the water." It starts with a whole thing that I can't get into, but I'm officially saying
I have an ADD when it comes to that kind of shit, and I was enamored.
We're all learning to say, that's what. Maybe I'm friends with Bryan too. I think it's Sony. Anyway, but what about Sony? I keep on reading at Wikipedia.
Mike's owned by Sony right now.
Right. So how are you going to deal with this influence?
Well, what
creatively
and what Mike has done already, like just on this show, is in public domain. I can't go any further than that. Okay. We literally can't. But he's a talented guy. We were on the way up talking, and he's a natural entertainer. He's naturally artistic.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yes.
He's got a personality. He's charismatic. He's really great.
Thank you.
He's slowly become literally one of my best friends.
Right.
And if no one knows this, like I've been MIA for 2 days, somebody put something in my drink Tuesday night, and I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mike actually lectured me on the way here about,
you were date raped somehow?
Basically.
I wasn't date raped.
You kissed me on the goddamn.
I was. It could have been. It really sucked. I was hallucinating for 2 days.
You could die from that.
It was horrible. I don't know who thought that was funny, who thought that was cool, but it really fucking wasn't. Can I say that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it really wasn't.
It was difficult because he
was supposed to be here Wednesday.
He responds to my phone calls immediately. And
yeah,
it was 2
everyone.
days
So you know that.
Yeah.
I respond to people like that because that's.
And I do appreciate that for you because everyone else, it's like Hollywood East. I'm not even. They say something and 3 weeks later, you never hear from them.
I was in a whole other world, and it was horrible.
Horrible.
It was just all I can say was horrible.
Was Meryl, was someone with you, with your girlfriend with you?
No one was with me.
Oh my God, that's dangerous.
I thought I was okay, and I wound up trying to drive home, and I left at 9 at night from my mother's house in South Philly, and I wound up somewhere in Jersey without my shoes on, in my socks, in the pouring rain, sitting in front of my car, doing a scene from a movie with 3 actors that didn't exist.
Wow.
All I needed is a trooper to pass by.
You're lucky you're alive. Man,
well, no, seriously. Whoever did that can kill you.
Yeah.
It was not a good thing.
No, it wasn't. And all I can say to people is I'm sorry. This wasn't. If I did it, I'd say, look,
He's
man,
making a
I'm
public
an
apology
idiot.
to me right now because I was upset.
No, more than you. I mean, I got a show opening tomorrow night that I haven't shown up for rehearsal for.
Right.
And you know me really well. We've known each other for a couple of years. That's not me.
No, yeah.
So anyway,
That's what I tell people. With all the fucking insanity you do, you say what you're going to do and you do it. If you
I mean
can't,
it.
you tell people.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate
I mean it.
that.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
mean it.
one thing about him. That's how he is.
And he did-
Wrap it up.
Okay, we got to wrap up.
okay.
What
So
can we
anyway,
say?
TheMikeDowd.com, if you don't mind.
Cigars.
I got the
The
cigar
7.5
line.
cigar,
I got a
fantastic
T-shirt
cigar.
line. Just trying to make a few dollars so I can support my travel, really, because in essence, I'm not being paid by Sony till the movie comes out.
Right.
So and I lost my job due to this documentary, so it's been a little difficult road
Which
for
is
me.
very unfair.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
And-
But life's a struggle, and at the end, it all works out for the best.
somehow.
I hope the movie gets made. I hope your kids, you're talking to your kids again.
Yeah,
I hope that
absolutely.
works
We
out.
have a great
Family's
relationship.
important.
Great relationship.
And hopefully you'll come back anytime you want. He has carte blanche.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess we're
when my
going
book
out.
comes out, you'll have me back.
Oh, if you want to come back.
Oh,
I-
absolutely. My book comes out. I like to spread the.
I hate to denigrate myself. Kurt always does, but we're just a little.
only if
TV
I'm
show
back,
here.
and I got to be at
good.
least naked.
Okay.
He's
okay.
really good at playing a dead body.
Is he? Okay. Well, then, and you? What do you play?
A dead body.
His killer.
And I'm going to talk to Mike out, and I got to be. I've been told to be wary of you. I've been told to be worried. But anyway, we'll talk afterwards. And thanks again. And this
Thanks
has
for having us.
Okay. Peace.